I can't recall the number of times people have asked me this question at seminars and workshops and conferences worldwide, be it in Asia, in the Middle East, in Africa, in Europe, or in North America. They often ask me, Gideon, I have a lot of stories. How do I know which one is suitable? How do I know which one is much more relevant for a particular audience that I'm speaking to? And I'll be honest with you, when I started out on this journey of learning about storytelling in 2003, I didn't have a good answer for that question. But over the years, I have thought about it. I've processed it from different angles. By 2015, when I wrote my book, The Science of Storytelling, I had discovered three important elements that go into story selection. I call them the story DNA method. Story DNA method. Why DNA? Because the DNA of something is the very tiny fabric of what the entire organism, of what the entire substance is. So I look at stories and I ask myself, what must go into every story in order to make it useful and relevant to those with whom you are sharing? So D stands for distressors. N stands for needs. And A stands for aspirations. Let's look at each one of them at a time. Distressors are things that you could say keep your customers, keep your audience up at night. What are the things that disturb them or distress them? Is it an imminent issue at work with your boss? Is it the fact that one of the customers has withdrawn? Is it an issue like an imminent presentation that you have to do and you know that you're not very suitable at presentations and that's bothering you? That is a distressor. That is a distressing issue that keeps the mind of your listener away. By addressing their distressors, you help in drawing in, you help in letting your audience know, I know how you feel. By addressing their distressors, you also help to close the empathy gap. The empathy gap, we'll talk about it in a separate video, is very important. But let's move on to the second element, the needs. The needs of your audience have to be reflected in a small way in your story. Just as you try to reflect their distressors or their distresses in your stories, you should not overlook the importance of their needs. The needs are like short-term important issues to them. For example, they may have a need to generate new leads. They may have a need to get new referrals. They may have a need to meet their monthly goals and targets. Those are some of the things that would preoccupy the people with whom you're talking to. If you know a little bit about their needs, if you know a little bit about their pains, if you know a little bit about their challenges, and you choose stories that in some way reflect on this or provide a solution to these issues, you are in effect choosing the right story for the right audience. And the last element of the DNA method is, of course, aspirations. By aspirations, I mean where they want to go, where they want to be in the long-term future. It is not enough to talk about the things that are stressing them out today. It's not enough to talk about their needs in the short term, but also remember this: very humans, as humans, we are very future focused. We are very future drawn. So it's important to pay attention to their aspirations. Where do they want to be in 3 years, in 5 years, in 10 years? One quick example there could be they want to travel. They want to live comfortable lifestyles. They want to make 6 figures. That's something that you can also reflect in your stories. And when you do that, when you reflect the distressors, when you reflect on the needs, when you reflect on the aspirations of your team members, of your audience, in the stories that you choose to tell, some of them would lean forward and say, this leader, this manager, this presenter gets me. He or she understands my fears, my exasperations, my aspirations. And that is a good thing because it closes the empathy gap. Whenever the empathy gap is too wide, your ideas are not percolating. Your ideas are not taking root. But when the empathy gap is very close between you and your listeners, you can be pretty sure that the ideas have a shorter distance of crossing over. So I want to end by saying, in the course of choosing your stories, beware of the 3 elements in the story DNA method: distressors, needs, and aspirations. Once again, thank you so much for listening. Please sign up below and continue to share these videos with those you believe they may find them useful. My name is Gideon Fomokwai, the story warrior from Africa, on a mission in America to get everybody to tell better stories. Thank you and have a good night.